For fun, he would climb to the very, very top of the bird cage. The very top. You know how when you were little, there's monkey bars, and you would go on the monkey bars and just hang there, kind of. He would hang from the very top of the bird cage. I'd walk in, he's there hanging off one hand like this, looking at me. And while I'm looking at him, looking me in the eye. All right, so really quick, I'm gonna go over my hamsters. My first hamster, his name was Fuzzy, little orange boy. Now the problem with Fuzzy, he was the first hamster, so it was me troubleshooting how to take care of a pet. Fuzzy was the smartest of all my hamsters, by far. The biggest brain, wasn't even close. He actually looked like the Hbox Scream emote. Looked just like that. Minus the headband. The problem with Fuzzy is that no matter what cage I put him in, I had one of those like plastic, but also like cages with the steel bars, whatever what it was, but also had the plastic thing that goes around it so they can crawl through. He would chew and gnaw as hard as he could and make little openings just big enough so the tube would fall out, and he would always figure out a way to get out of his cage. He was an escape artist. He probably got out of his cage like 24 times in all my time I had in that hamster. So he was too smart. And one day, I remember, I'll never understand how his cage was in my brother's room on his cabinet. I come home from dinner with my family. I check it. Of course, the tube fell out. He chewed. We put duct tape there. He chewed through the duct tape. He's gone. So I start looking for him. I go to my room. He's in the upper platform of my cabinet in my room. So this motherfucker got out of the cage in my brother's room, went out of the room, crawled through it, got into my room, somehow traversed up, and made it into my, like, he went levels. He went through levels. And I opened my cabinet where I leave like my pencils and stuff. What's it called? Like my desk? It was like he was inside that little desk cubby. A very smart hamster. Too smart for his own good. And I was young. I was like 8 years old, right? My brothers were like 10 and 11. One of my brothers, I won't say which one, thought it would be funny to see what happens. And we were kids and dumb. We have a two-story, or my family had a two-story house, and there's an upstairs, what do they call it, like a balcony, I guess, where you can look over the stairs and see the downstairs, in the living room. It's a very Floridian thing. He thought it'd be funny to put a bunch of pillows on the floor downstairs and just drop my hamster from the top and land him on the pillows like a circus act. I was 8 years old. When he dropped Fuzzy, I just remember the tiniest little scream. Like, I heard it. I'll never forget. The tiniest little, I heard it was the tiniest little hamster scream. A squeak of desperation. A little squeal, right? Anyways, he lived. Remember when I went to go get him downstairs, he was alive, but he was shaking. And he had a look in his eye. And the look in Fuzzy's eye said, in all caps, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Next week, he escaped, and I couldn't find him. He escaped again from his cage next week, and he made sure. He escaped, chat, and all I'm gonna say is I heard scratching in my bedroom walls, inside the walls, of him scurrying around. He managed to get somewhere. We could not find him. And after a week of trying to figure out where he was gone. So he escaped. I'll never really know where he went, but Oh my god, another knee with the crazy save. Dude, I'm hitting so many things. This Falcon run. So he dipped. I'm like, damn, I'm sad. I am sagging right now real bad. I need another hamster. So, my mom, being the sweetheart that she is, says, Bicho, te voy a comprar otro hamster. In Spanish means I'll buy another hamster. So, go to the pet store. And there's a little tiny brown and white hamster. Smaller than Fuzzy, younger. Clearly a teenage hamster. And we got him. Much more active hamster. Much more skittish. You couldn't really pick him up. He liked jumping out of hands. Hamsters can be jumpers, you know? He liked the full hop. I named him Kermister. That's what I remember. His name was Kermister. Chirmister. And I named him that because I was young and stupid. And there was an episode of Hey Arnold where he buys a hamster, and I swear that was the name. To the best of my little 9-year-old ability, that was the name of this fucking hamster in the show. I don't know why, I'm probably completely wrong, but it was something with Hey Arnold. Anyways, the hamster lasted a week. He lasted a week. He jumped out of my hands into his cage, and the next day, he's... By the way, if you have hamsters when you're young, prepare to be like emotionally angry, because what better way to introduce your kids to death than the most fragile little mouse? I go the next day, he's keeled over like this, and his tail is all wet and damp. And so little Juan de Diedma, before he was even H-Box, got to experience what it was like to love something and then it fucking dies. And he got to experience the most regular killer for hamsters, which is called wet tail. Wet tail is basically hamster cancer. It's really sad. Once you get wet tail, it's GG. You're done. You're done. But then I got a third hamster. My third hamster was named Zorro. Zorro was what is called a black bear hamster. Very cuddly, very affectionate, adventurous little guy. He lasted a while. Oh, also perspective. I had Fuzzy for like a year and a half. I had Kermister for a week. And I had Zorro for, I think, for a year. I liked him. He was very playful. You know, he liked to crawl around your hands and all that. Black bear hamsters are very nice. There's all black. So he was a good hamster. He didn't escape as much. My friends liked playing with him. He got along with other hamsters too. And then I got home one day and hear little squeaks coming from his cage. I'm like, oh no. And of course, my hamster is keeled over, giving his last breath, twitching. I hold him in my hands. Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, dude. Like, this is the problem with hamsters. You just die, right? This little guy died in my hands. His last breath in my hands. I'm here crying. I'm like 12 years old. This is a third hamster I had die on me or lose. I love this little guy. Died in my hands from like a lung infection. Anything kills hamsters, dude. It was so sad. I had a fourth hamster. His name was Chunky. He lasted the longest. I had him, I think, for... Hamsters have like a lifespan of like 2-3 years. I could have sworn I had him for 2 years straight, the hamster. I had him until he was a little old, wrinkly hamster. He looked like Kermister, brown and white. But... Oh shit, nice. But he was a lot more calm. He was very friendly. So Chunky was my fourth hamster. And I liked Chunky a lot. And the problem with Chunky was I was the only one who loved him. After 2 years, when a hamster gets old, you know, they start having health issues. Chunky started having a bad leg. One of his eyes just stopped being an eye. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever had pets when they get too old and you realize that they can't be around for much longer. I wanted to keep him and see it through. But me being young, 13-year-old impressionable Juan, my family thought it was in our best interest to let him go. So, yeah, I had to experience that when I was little too. God, why do the good ones go? So then my fifth hamster, because I don't have enough pain. I need more pain in my life. Got a fifth hamster, was named Chip. Chip was just like Chunky, brown and white. I loved him. I liked having a hamster. So Chip was, I named him Chip because there was a TV show that was called The Adventures Down Under or something like that with Chip and Dale. Or it was called Chip and Dale. And Chip was the one I liked. So and he was this Rescue Heroes. Was that? Oh yeah, Rescue Heroes, yeah. Thank you. Or Rescue Ranger, whatever it's called. Named him Chip. And Chip was great. He was like chunky, but more upbeat, more youthful, a little bigger. I had Chip for a while. I think I had Chip for a year and a half. Very good hamster. Definitely enjoyed him. I was making sure to take good care of him. Of course, I got home one day and Chip has wet tail. Another pet, another friend I became too attached to, which soon vanished from my life. Yep. Second time fucking wet tail. So Chip was gone too, and Chunky, and Zoro, and Kermister, and Fuzzy. So F in the chat for the 5 hamsters who died. I love them all very, very well, and that's how it was. And once I play this match, I'll tell you about my 6th hamster. My 6th hamster, I must have been like 16 years old. Remember, it was near the middle of high school. His name was Knight, N-I-T-E. Also a black bear hamster. And I said to myself, alright, I need to stop getting so attached because clearly these guys die very often. Knight was like Zoro, but way smaller. But just like Zoro, the black bear hamsters, I'm telling you, they're very cuddly. They're very affectionate. They love being held. I remember we put them in a big cage. Now, Knight was hilarious because what Knight would do for fun. Okay, maybe not hilarious. Maybe he was a little. Maybe Knight was a little. He wasn't the sharpest drawer, and he wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. All right, I'll say that. It was a little dumb. The reason I say that is because, for fun, he would climb to the very, very top of the bird cage. We have in a bird cage. There's a lot of room, multiple stories. He climbed to the very top of it. This thing was like maybe 2 feet tall. The very top. You know how when you were little, there's monkey bars, and you would go on the monkey bars and just hang there, kind of. He was a daredevil, exactly. He would hang from the very top of the bird cage. I'd walk in, he's there hanging off one hand like this, looking at me. Little tiny black hamster, just hanging there. I'm like, you okay, buddy? And while I'm looking at him, looking me in the eye, he lets go and drops. Just drops. And you hear the vibration of the cage. With a metal cage. So all night you'd hear him climbing. We thought he was dead every time. He wasn't. He did that for fun. My man yeeted himself off the top of the cage for 8 hours a night. Maybe he did it to feel something. Maybe he did it to feel alive. I don't know. The point was, he was fine every morning. There was no scratch on him. He loved to jump off the ceiling. He was a rager, you know? Rager hamster. I'm like, all right, Knight, you do you, man. But of course, guys, you can only imagine what a hamster who yeets himself off the ceiling every single night of his cage for a year straight, what he dies from, right? Who wants to guess? Fucking wet tail. Of course, he didn't die from his injuries. Wet tail. So poor little Knight, just like his predecessors, got the hamster killer. He would be my little daredevil no more. My little PogChamp. He was gone. And then my 7th hamster, right during high school. And I say, you might think, well, HBox, why'd you keep getting hamsters? Clearly they hurt you. I didn't want any more hamsters. But my buddy Jason, no, not M2K Jason. There's more than one Jason in life, guys. Come on. Why would Mewtwo King ever give me a hamster? So my friend Jason, when I'm in like junior or senior year of high school, gives me a hamster for my 17th birthday, I think. And I'm like, oh shit, another hamster. I wasn't ready for this, but I can't say no, right? Looking back, I don't think it was a gift. I think he got the hamster, he didn't want it. Because this little hamster, it was a white hamster, an albino hamster. Tiny little thing. Imagine a white sphere. Imagine a sphere with little tiny little black eyes, little black-eyed sphere. But it's a hamster. Basically Puff. Well, guess what I named him? Puff. I named my 7th hamster Puff, and the saddest part was he was the most asshole, horrible little hamster I've ever owned. You could not hold him for more than a second and a half without him just gnawing into your hand, biting. You ever been bit by a hamster? every hamster I had bit me at least once. A hamster bite is the fucking. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. And it's like, imagine just getting pliers and just. Hamster bites hurt like a motherfucker. And for some reason, they're not cordial. They don't bite the part of your hand that has like more skin. They bite like right here. Right here where you have like the most feelies. Is that the right term? Scientifically? The most feelies. Anyways, you know all the frustration you have playing Puff and Melee? Imagine that, but in the form of a hamster. This little fucker, I could only hold him with mittens on. Like winter mittens. So I couldn't even feel it. It was just this angry little sphere scratching and gnawing. So his entire time, I kept him in the cage. I'm like, alright, I guess you don't want any love. Wouldn't be the first time that my love got rejected. But anyways, I would say this. I think this little hamster, I only ended him from 2 weeks. And eventually, I just gave him to the pet store or whatever, so they could have it. And that was it. That was the last hamster I ever told myself I would have. So Puff was the last one, and I wasn't about it, you know. Fuck Wet Tail, facts.